Breaking update coming in as far as the war is concerned. Iran and Oman, we're learning, have announced a fee on vessels transiting reopened Strait of Hormuz. They have a plan in place. As far as Iran is concerned, it has clearly said that it will be charging $2 million. That's a huge fee on the vessels passing through the Strait of Hormuz. It will be sharing it with Oman, and then it will be using that money to rebuild their country because of the damages to civilian infra on the oil refineries and other bridges in the country that have also suffered damages in the last few days. In fact, let me give you more details as far as this decision by Iran is concerned, that they are ready to open the Strait of Hormuz, but they will be charging a fee, sharing that fee with Oman, and they will be using that money to rebuild their country. Let me tell you more about this as far as the ships are concerned. Before the war started, as many as 138 ships used to cross the Strait of Hormuz. That was a revenue gold mine for Iran as well. Tax Iran wants, as we told you, $2 million per vessel that passes through the Strait of Hormuz. So that would mean that per day, Iran will be earning $133 million for the vessels, from the vessels that will be passing through that area. Revenue per day for Iran and Oman will be roughly around $276 million. As far as Strait of Hormuz is concerned, revenue per month will be $8.28 billion. So that is one of the demands that Iran has put forth as far as the negotiations are concerned. Insurances, of course, they will also spike up 5% of the value there as well. War risk insurance will definitely go up $5 million per barrel as well. Cost of the crossing of Hormuz will cost around $7 million is what we're learning as per as the estimation is concerned. Daily cost per ship will be around $966 million. So that is one of the demand that has been put out by Iran, that they want to charge money on the Strait of Hormuz, and they will be using that money to pay for the damages as far as the country is concerned. I have many guests joining us for perspective. Major General Rajan Kochar, defense expert, thank you for joining us. Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, defense expert. Here, Steve Gill, Republican leader from United States, and Michael Owens, who's also from United States, a mayor there. I will come to you first, Major General Rajan Kochar. How do you look at the ceasefire decision, the announcement that has been put forth by Donald Trump? There are 2 points. This is conditional. He wants the Strait of Hormuz to be reopened by Iran. Iran, on the other hand, has said that they will be imposing $2 million per vessel for the ships that will be passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Do you think that could be one of the friction point going forward? Because next 14 days are going to be very important. Both the sides have their set of demands, 15 from United States, 10 from Iran. Do you think this will be one of the friction point between the two countries?
Good morning, Akanksha. I think some very good news in the morning, and I think a sense of relief also in the country because the way oil and gas was being impacted. You see, apart from those 2 points, what you have mentioned, if you look at this entire charter of points which have been put forward by Iran, it seems that this ceasefire, because this is my first impression, it seems that this ceasefire is being negotiated on the terms of Iran, more on the terms of Iran and less on the terms of the United States. Because if you critically examine these 10 points which Tehran has put forth, one important point which catches my eye is there will be no restriction on the enrichment of uranium. So I don't know how they are going to navigate that point. And
all right.
Second important aspect is that they want some kind of security guarantee. So in this 14 days, what we are going to see is, because opening of Strait of Hormuz and levy of this toll tax in terms of the money can be justified by Iran because of the kind of devastation which has been caused by them. Because one of the points which Iran has also mentioned is compensation. Right. That compensation may not be coming, and there may be a trade-off for the point on compensation with the toll tax being levied as far as Hormuz is concerned. And in case Iran is considering to open, I think it should be acceptable to the US. And this toll tax thing, I don't think Iran is going to come down on that.
Absolutely.
Because
it remains to be seen how this really pans out, because Iran wants payment for the damages. As far as the damages in the country are concerned, total stop on the attack on Hezbollah in Lebanon. So it remains to be seen whether Israel or US really agree to that or not. Let me also bring in our another guest, Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni. Thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us. Donald Trump has mentioned that he has agreed to a ceasefire because all the military objectives, they have been achieved. So let's talk about objectives now, because when the war started, he said that he wanted to change the regime. Khamenei has been replaced with Khamenei. Other than that, he wanted Iranians to come to the streets and raise their voice. That has not happened in the last 1 month, because now we are witnessing celebrations there on the streets of Tehran after the ceasefire announcement. Nuclear capability has not been wiped out, because US may know where the enriched uranium is, but they've not really been able to attack that as well. So where do you think US stands as far as the objectives are concerned after the ceasefire announcement?
Thank you, Akanksha. Well, a ray of hope to begin with.
Right.
As long as there is a ceasefire and there is no firing and the Strait of Hormuz is kept open and that the trade continues, I think that's a big achievement, number one. Number two, as regards the regime change is concerned, well, that's a subsequent thing. Because in any case, it's not easy to do a regime change. People can change, but the ideology won't change. And since it's from father to son, it's almost impossible to do a regime change. And as long as the IRGC is there, which controls everything, along with the Basij, there's no question of any regime change. So that is out. The second thing, as regards the nuclear is concerned, yes, to a large extent, Americans have achieved what they wanted. There is no denying the fact that the Iranians cannot hereinafter whichever way they wish to do, because the Iranians were, there is no denying the fact, were clandestinely attempting to enrich the uranium by having their plants at places where it would be extremely difficult to access. So Iranians were not for peaceful use of the nuclear energy. It was being used primarily for preparation of a nuclear bomb, which it was there. And so to a large extent, that would be controlled with IAEA, various international organizations, and a complete check on it. Well, that part is there. The third part is the missiles part. The conventional part that Iran has over a period of time been accumulated to such an extent that yes, it has been able to fire at the GCC countries, that is the Middle East countries.
All right,
and all
because
of them,
Donald Trump has been saying that the nuclear military capabilities, they have been wiped out ever since the war has started. Stay on with us. Let me take our viewers through more details as far as the war is concerned, because ever since the ceasefire announcement has been made, the oil prices have come down, and that is a major sigh of relief. Before the ceasefire, as you remember, the cost of Brent crude per barrel was $111. That has now come down to 94.7. Remember, before the war started, it was less than $70 per barrel, but in the last few days, it has gone as high as 115 to 116. Just before the ceasefire was announced just a few hours back, it was 111, but it has now come down to 94.7, because in the last few days, Gulf countries have been attacked. Strait of Hormuz has been blocked as well, and that has really hit the energy crisis as well. Let me, in fact, go across and take in a word from more of a guest who are joining us. Let me go across to Steve Gill, Republican leader, joining us from the United States. Sir, how are Americans looking at it? Because there were several reports that Donald Trump's approval rating has also gone down, and this is happening just ahead of the November mid-term election. How are people there reacting to the ceasefire announcement, and what has happened in the last 1 month as far as the war is also concerned? Mr. Steve Gill, that question was for you. Can you hear me? All right, let me take that question to Michael Owens, who's a mayor from the United States. So how do you look at this, and how are The people in the United States looking at this, the approval rating has gone down. This is happening just few months ahead of the midterm elections there in the United States as well. How are people there in US looking at the entire situation unfolding in the West Asia?
Unfolding as we would expect from a political standpoint. You know, in the U.S., the reaction is layered. It's complex. There are some right now that have some sense of relief that the escalation did not go any further, especially given how tense these final hours were. I'm here in Washington, D.C. right now and was aware of the protests that were going on in the last several hours going up to this timeline. You know, so politically, obviously, we're divided, but you'll see strong leadership, you know, from those who wanted to see a solution, who wanted to see a ceasefire, but to go past a ceasefire. We understand right now that there is still potential for escalation of risk. So the mood right now is mixed, right? There's some concern, but there's still a high amount of political polarization. There was also a couple of elections this evening, which I think was kind of telling too, because there were a couple of special elections where people were going out to vote with some candidates that President Trump had actually endorsed. And one of those candidates won that I know thus far. But there's still a lot of concerns. You talked about the market and what's going on with the economy, and we are obviously feeling that here in the U.S. So there's been a sigh of relief with obviously the cost of oil and the barrels cost going down. But we also know that this is not just a ceasefire. It is not, you know, anyone claiming victory, although both sides may claim victory. It's very, very critical right now. There is, the Strait of Hormuz, which has now become a central point to this, is not solved yet. So that's something we're going to continue to keep a close eye on.
And in fact, there is also a sigh of relief. There's a temporary ceasefire for the next 14 days. Oil price